on in Washington matched at the federal level, at the local level. You may have seen it in today's Post and Courier. There was an insane editorial from Jim Barker, the head of Clemson, talking about how good the stimulus package was. We have in Columbia just this last week $1.3 billion of tax increase imposed upon the taxpayers of South Carolina, which I don't think makes good sense. You could go down, whether it's at the federal level, the local level, ultimately the buck will stop somewhere in this crossroads, and where it stops is with every one of you all. And so my simple request of every one of you tonight is to say, would you look for a way of redoubling your effort in talking to 5 friends, 10 friends, 15 friends, because we are at the crossroads of our lifetime, a crossroads that will have incredible implications for my and Jenny's 4 boys, or y'all's kids, or your grandkids, on how liberty or lack thereof prevails in America. Thanks again for what y'all do. Appreciate it.
Next, ladies and gentlemen, we have Senator Lindsey Graham, who is known as a leader who never abandons his independence while always working toward the conservative ideals, responsible spending, and a strong national defense. He's fought to balance the budget, provide tax relief to all taxpayers, and keep our military adequately funded and prepared, and always to return control of education back to parents and leaders. He also continues to serve our country in the Air Force Reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, our U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham.
Thank you all very much. How about a round of applause for Karen? I know she's doing it for the money. But to all those who volunteer for our party, it takes time away from your business and your family. Thank you, because at the end of the day, commercials help get you elected. But the only thing that really sustains a party, a business, a family, a church, or a country is when people care enough to come out, give a little bit of their money and a lot of their time. And all of us here as Republicans are standing on your shoulders. You know, I'm trying to take the place of Strom Thurmond. We change senators every 50 years. That's a tough task. But let me tell you, I can tell you without any doubt that the friends I have here, and speaking of being imperfect, I am top of the list of being imperfect. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your friendship when you disagree with me. I appreciate your prayers every day. And I want you to know that. Whatever differences we may have, they pale in comparison to the differences we have with our opponents on the other side. Never lose sight of that. Never, ever lose sight of that. We got our differences, but we ain't the enemy. And quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in a Congress with a 17% approval rating. The only thing I want to know is who are the 17% and what the hell do they like? You know, I'm telling people I'm a lawyer. I don't even admit to being in Congress anymore. It really is bad. And I'd like it to get worse. I mean, not worse. It's going to get worse. I'd like it to get better. And, Mark, we don't rest on Sunday. You can't spend this much money 6 days a week. And I wish we would take a day off like God did. We are passing on to your children and grandkids a mountain they can't possibly climb. When you look out at the future of the country, I'm going to always be optimistic because I'm an American. I'm a South Carolinian. And only in America can a guy grow up in a liquor store and be in the United States Senate. So I got every reason in the world to be optimistic, but I am worried. Social Security is going broke. Medicare has got more bills than it can ever pay. The stimulus package and the health care bill have just absolutely turned our economy upside down. The one thing I can tell you for sure, a few senators do matter. If we'd had just 1 or 2 more senators in the United States Senate on the Republican side, there would be no health care bill like we have today. Ladies and gentlemen, work like your future depends on it. We've got a governor race. You got good candidates, but only one can win. And some people are going to have their feelings hurt. I would urge you and pray and beg that we come together on the governor's side, and when it's over, vote for the nominee. If it's somebody you don't like, we're still part of a team. If you vote for someone in the primary and they don't win and you vote for the Democrat, you're a lot of things, but you're not a Republican. We got to understand that. We're going to need every vote we can get. Jim DeMint is going to go back to the Senate, right? Good. Let me tell you about my friend Jim. They no backup in Jim. I think we make a good team, and I'm proud of him because he's there for a reason. He knows who sent him there, and he knows what he's trying to accomplish. And I just wish we had more people that cared enough to be criticized. Because if you're not being criticized, you're not doing much. And Jim really is making a difference. The better Jim DeMint does in November, ladies and gentlemen, the better every Republican on the ballot will do. Let's make a promise to each other. Let's make sure that Jim DeMint wins by over 60% in November. To our friends in Charleston, make sure he wins in Charleston. To our friends in Greenville, make sure you knock it out of the park, okay? Make sure you knock it out of the park. And every small county in between. Now, I'm taking more than 3 minutes, but I need to actually talk to you about something very important in regard to Washington. I talked to you about problems. One of the biggest problems our nation has is that we're more dependent on OPEC oil today than we were before 9/11. Isn't that a national disgrace? Shouldn't we become energy independent? Shouldn't we start drilling in a responsible way off our coast? Shouldn't South Carolina, if she wants to, allow drilling and get some of the money? Shouldn't we have 50 more nuclear power plants instead of 2? The French, ladies and gentlemen, get 80% of their power from the nuclear power industry. We get 20%. Surely the God can be as bold as the French. That's not asking for much. If you believe in clean air, I've got something in common with you. If you believe that the whole economy should be turned upside down to protect the polar bear, I don't agree with you. But we all agree in clean air. Don't you believe that your elected officials should be responsible for cleaning up there and not a bunch of unelected bureaucrats at the EPA? Don't you think that's a real danger to this country? Yeah, I do too. So let's do something about it. Let's get together and do something about it. And whether we agree or not, here's one thing I can tell you about me. I'm going to be as conservative and practical as I know how to be. There are a lot of business people here. There are a lot of folks that disagree regularly with somebody they care about. It's called marriage. But you're able to survive as a business and a couple because you find what is most important to you and you work to that goal. I want to help solve some of the hard problems in this country. I don't believe being conservative and bipartisan are opposite terms. Senator Thurmond and a bunch of other people showed us you could be really conservative and have Joe Biden speak at your funeral. And I told Joe I'd return the favor. I hope no time soon. But ladies and gentlemen, here's what just happened a couple of days ago. Immigration is a very tough issue, isn't it? Aren't you upset at the way the immigration system doesn't work? Aren't you upset with borders that are broken? Aren't you upset with 12 million people coming here on their terms, not ours? I'm upset. You've got every right to be upset. But being upset doesn't fix the problem. I worked with Karl Rove and President Bush and a lot of other people morning, noon, and night for about a year, trying to find a way to solve that hard problem. And you know what? We didn't get it done, but that doesn't mean we need to keep trying. And I was really proud of President Bush of trying to solve hard problems like immigration and Social Security. And one last thing, and I know I'm talking too long. You know, have you seen this sign, "Do you miss me yet?" Yeah, the answer is yes, Carl, we do. President Obama is understanding this war is not so easy to deal with. I want to help him where I can. But this idea of allowing Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to be tried in New York City in federal court was the dumbest idea I've ever heard. It blew up in their face. Aren't you glad they're not going to do it? They better not do it. But let me tell you very quickly here. I've been trying to solve some really hard problems. And I know that immigration can't be solved until